would love for you to just share with folks a little bit more about what HR Hotseat is, because you've built something very unique. And I'd love to just help share with our HR professional friends what it is that you've built.
Thank you. It was at first intended to be a traditional mastermind group of 10 or 12 people that got together on a regular basis, built accountability and trust and some of those things that you would expect out of a mastermind group of that size. And I realized very quickly that I was going to have to figure out how to grow with it, because the group was expanding beyond the original 8 to 10 folks that I had in mind. And it's not because anything that we were doing was rocket science. I think we were just providing a safe, confidential space for people to come together, both learn from one another, but then also teach and give back in the same conversation. And I love your point about being focused on serving other people. I think often when we're networking, we're so focused on what we need. Well, I need a job, or I need a connection, or I need an introduction, that's what we lead with. And
Yes.
there are more effective ways to open a networking conversation than "my name is Erich Kurschat and I need a job." When you can then come into community with fellow HR pros, for example, in this instance, and realize that, geez, we have so much in common, that we are really faced. And I have people, we were virtual for 33 months, 33 consecutive months during the pandemic. I had people staying up till 3 a.m. in Nigeria and Tel Aviv and other parts of the world to attend our virtual events, showing up to tackle the same challenges that we were tackling here in the United States. And I think that was just a reminder that wherever we are in the world, wherever we work, we do face similar challenges to other people who are doing similar work. So, in a nutshell, we have 14 different chapters, thousands of members, and we're coming together in this mastermind style conversation, all for free, to help our members tackle the real-time challenges that they're facing in their work or their job search. There is no single subject matter expert in the room. Everyone brings equally valuable experience and perspective, whether you're a practitioner, a service provider, or even a student or in job transition. I try to pack more value into our free events than people would expect. And then people, I hope, walk away inspired to do their best work, but also very, very eager to support one another.
Yeah. So, and irrespective of function, because I hope and suspect that there are other functional, sales, marketing, finance, whatever, but within the context of HR, that being able to, one, you said, have a safe space, which is like I may not be able to share this with my boss because I could get fired, or I'm afraid I might get fired. So it's a safe space. Getting various perspectives, right? Maybe somebody who's more of a mentor type of a relationship. And it's like, I really understand what you're feeling. I felt the same way when I was at a similar stage. What I found was, and it's like, oh, so just getting some different perspectives, some new information. Have you tried this? I don't even know that model. What's that all about?
Right.
I mean, there's just so many benefits to being in community. And in the rapidly changing world that we find ourselves in, things are just changing on the fly all the time. Black swans are becoming as common as black crows. It seems like it just happens all the time. Something new and crazy and what the heck is happening. And not being in community really increases your risk of struggling to get through the next thing, because you don't have a safety net, you don't have the social structure, and as we know, in job search, you're most likely to find your next job through your network.
Right.
And kind of related to the sowing and reaping metaphor, we'll also talk about going to the ATM when you absolutely need $100. You haven't been making deposits in it.
Right.
It's, sorry, dude. Like, there's nothing here for you because you haven't been making deposits in it. And as you said, in your masterminds, you've got people that sometimes I'm asking a question, sometimes I'm giving an answer. You can be making deposits and withdrawals at
in
the
same
same
conversation.
time. Exactly. And it's all really, really good.
And if we return to what we mentioned earlier about HR professionals burning out these days for real reasons, for very valid reasons, I'm warmed is not the right word, but I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but reassured, I suppose, by the HR professionals that I know that have found community, including in social media, that
Mm.
took to social media saying, you know what, I just, if I don't find something soon in terms of support and help and reassurance, I don't know how much longer I can last in this position. And so they'll start connecting with people on LinkedIn, start connecting with people on Twitter, find a group like HR Hotseat, come to you and say, Bob, who are you connected with? What communities would you recommend? And have those communities become the difference,
Yes.
rather than then stepping away from a job that really is rewarding, fulfilling, but just is overbearing and overwhelming in the moment. Realize, no, I can do this. I can uh, I can do this HR work, or to flip it, I can remain in my job search, something that has been just so difficult for me and so um, taxing at times. I can continue to do this because I'm intentionally surrounding myself by people who are making it their life's work to lift me up and support me at a time when I need it most, knowing that I will certainly reciprocate when given the opportunity. So
Mm.
what you're hearing, and I'm so glad I stand for these conversations, I couldn't possibly sit down for them. What you're hearing is, an introvert who is still very much introverted, but has learned to really appreciate the value of community in a way that I'm so glad I have, because I don't think I would be where I am doing the work that I get to do, the meaningful work I get to do, if it wasn't for the communities that I've both built and become a part of.
Yeah. So phenomenal. Let's put a bow on this, because you just said two of them: meaningful work, community, and communicating effectively with others would be the third. Um, maybe the way to put a bow on this is, if you were talking to 28-year-old Eric, or maybe somebody who's just a few years out of college, is beginning their HR career, is young in their HR career, what are the 1, 2, 3 bits of advice that you would give them?
I would say number one, get sleep now, because when you have your daughter, it's going to be harder to come by. um, this is going to sort of sound cliche, I suppose, given the work that I do, but know thyself.
Hmm.
Really spend time being introspective. It's hard work. It's not easily done. Sometimes you hold up a mirror and you don't like what you see. And sometimes you really like what you see and you embrace those things, and the things you don't like, you're quick to dismiss. I think people would have a better chance at defining and pursuing meaningful work if they had a better idea of how they are uniquely wired.
Mm-hmm.
What do you value? What strengths do you bring to the work that you do? What sorts of relationships fill you up and which drain you? What work, to your point earlier, should you just avoid at all possible costs?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take all of that into account. Number two, especially in terms of HR work, recognize that there's no one perfect personality or communication style for it. That, yeah, you're going to find the people that we talked about that very much thrive on emotions and relationships and camaraderie and collaboration. You're going to get folks on the other end of the spectrum that are heads down on Excel all day, working with numbers and ensuring accuracy in their work. And there's no right or wrong, good or bad about any of it. That it really does take that cognitive diversity across the board in business in general,
Yeah.
to run a successful organization. So those are two things, be introspective and recognize that there's no one size fits all, that the value that you bring to an organization is very much there. They're not going to know what that value is until you are first clear on what it is and able to communicate it effectively and compellingly to the people in a position to offer you that meaningful work.
Mm. Well, I know that we need to be mindful of the time. We've probably already gone over, but Eric, this has been phenomenal. I'm so glad that we were able to do this. I know that as people listen and watch this particular podcast are going to get so much value out of it. I've learned a few things and had a few things reminded to me that I thought I knew, but I'm relearning again. If people want to learn more about Harmony Insights in DISC and HR Hotseat, I know those are two separate things, what are the best ways for them to do that?
First, let me say, this has been as fulfilling a conversation as any we've had. So I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you this afternoon.
Likewise.
Harmonyinsights.com, as you can imagine, is all things DISC. And I really get passionate about it. I really get excited to help organizations and consultants bring DISC to life. So I hope people will take me up on my offer to nerd out with them about DISC. HR Hotseat is at hrhotseat.com. Thousands of members, licensed chapters around the country. So there may be something in your neck of the woods. If not, I organize and continue to facilitate our Chicago chapter, and everybody is welcome. It's a truly inclusive community. And so we welcome people who are practicing HR broadly defined, or serving HR professionals in some way, or honestly, anyone just committed to a conversation about how we can better serve the people who matter most to our businesses.
And how much is that fee for HR Hotseat again?
I'm so glad you asked. It is entirely free, Bob. So you won't pay anything, but you'll get so much more value than you would expect.
Okay. Well, this has been super valuable and exactly what I expected, because I knew what I was going to get with Erich Kurschat. So I would really encourage people to check out Harmony Insights, check out HR Hotseat. Erich, you're just a great colleague. I'm really glad that our paths have crossed. And just thank you for everything that you're doing to make the workplace a meaningful place.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm inspired by the work that you do as well. So let's make sure not to have this be our last conversation.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for listening. And we hope to catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.